The other day when I was talking with my cousin, he asked, how do you find the time and the energy to write every single day? It just seems that I have no energy in the morning or at night. So before I go to work and after work, I can't get any writing or creative work in. How do you manage to do this? At first I thought it was just a time management problem. Maybe he scrolls social media endlessly. Maybe he watches 3 to 4 hours of TV. And that's not really the case with him. But what I found out was that he was dealing with a problem that so many of us face that, quite honestly, doesn't get addressed enough. And that is rest. True rest. Let me explain. What most people call rest isn't truly rest at all. It's your brain on life support, quite honestly. What we do when we get home, what most people do when they get home is they eat, maybe they clean the house, spend some time with their loved ones, then they pull out their phone, scroll social media, turn something on the TV, listen to music, listen to a podcast. All this is going on, particularly in the last few hours of the day. And this is our way of unwinding. But the reality is that this isn't helping you unwind at all. It's actually doing the complete opposite. Here's a quote I love from Andrew Huberman. He says, "Non-sleep, deep rest is as important as sleep itself for neural restoration. But scrolling through social media or binge watching shows actively prevents the neural state shifts required for true restoration. It's not passive, it's actively harmful." So it's no wonder you feel drained all the time. I don't know about you, but this was how I lived my life for 3-4 years. Every day I'd get home from school or college, in this case, get back from college, get back from work. I'd eat, maybe I'd hit the gym, I'd come back and I would just scroll for hours and hours, watching TV, on Instagram, YouTube, whatever. And then come morning, even if I got 7, 8, 9 hours of sleep, I woke up feeling exhausted. I had no energy. I couldn't even get out of bed. This was because, as we know now, I wasn't truly resting. My mind was stimulated from the moment I got back from work or school until the moment I went to bed. But the thing is, it's so convenient to just pull out your phone and mindlessly scroll. It's so convenient to flip on the TV, plop yourself on the couch and just relax. Let's say you go for a walk, you get back home, you're thinking, I'm really hungry. Open up the cabinet, grab a box of cookies, plop yourself on the couch and you eat for 10, 15 minutes. You just demolish that box of cookies. Yeah, sure, you've cured your hunger, but you're going to feel like shit after. Your energy's low, you got brain fog, and you just feel frustrated with yourself for the fact that you even sat down and ate that entire box of cookies, right? It's like, yeah, the hunger's gone, great, but you're not really fueled. You're not restored. You're not energized. You've only harmed yourself even further. And it's the same way when we rest in the traditional sense of scrolling on our phones or watching TV or listening to music. These things don't really help our mind slow down. They keep it stimulated. If you watched the last video, then you know that one of the points I mentioned was doing nothing. And I'd like to expand on that more here. You see, society points the finger at people who do nothing. They say, oh, you're lazy. You're not productive. You're not doing anything with your life. And while, of course, that can be the case in some scenarios, I'm proposing we start implementing a sort of intentional, active restoration. Productive rest, so to speak. Because the thing is, we're always told to show up early, to stay late, to do the hard work that other people aren't willing to do. And while doing those things can be useful for improving your career, your social status, or your business, we can't forget the opposite of that. Everything has an equal and opposite force. So if you're working hard, then you also must be resting hard. The idea of polarity, hot, cold, yin yang, up, down. Work hard, rest hard. You need both. Now you might be wondering, okay, you're saying we should rest hard. We're saying we should intentionally restore our bodies by doing nothing. But just sitting there and doing absolutely nothing is, quite honestly, boring. And there are ways that you can more effectively do nothing and actually make the most out of it, as crazy as that sounds. So here are 3 of my favorite ways. The first way you can more effectively do nothing is by thought control and observation. The great Hermetic thinker Franz Bardon believed that everybody should be able to sit in silence for at least 5 minutes and just observe their thoughts. And in doing so, you would eventually gain the ability to control your thoughts. Now, I'll be honest, this is really hard. The first time I tried doing it, I sat there, and within 30 seconds, my mind was so far gone. I was thinking about my relationships and work I gotta do, going to the gym, and then all of a sudden my brain started thinking about these strange hypothetical scenarios and anxieties and good choices from the past and bad choices I've made in the past. And by the time the 5-minute marker hit, I didn't even remember the first thought. Couldn't even tell you where I started. And this is when I knew, hey, my mind is messed up. But of course, I'm not alone with this. You'll probably experience the same. Now, here is what Franz Bardon recommended everybody do. He said, close your eyes and observe the train of your thoughts for 5 minutes, trying to retain it. At first, you will find that there arises thoughts concerning everyday affairs, professional worries, and the like. Take the behavior of a silent observer toward these trains of thoughts, freely and independently. That's the main thing. We can talk about this more in another video, but you are not your thoughts, okay? I don't know about you, but there have been instances in my life where I'm interacting with a person. Maybe that person says or does something that I don't really like. And, you get this crazy thought like, oh, I just want to punch this guy. That isn't necessarily you, okay? And when you sit in silence for those 5 minutes, you will quickly realize how absurd and neurotic your thoughts can be. So take 5 minutes every day and just observe. Don't judge, just observe. Action number 2 you can take is by doing low demand physical activities without any stimulation. Now, I know what you're thinking. You might be saying, hey, this isn't nothing exactly. I'm doing something. And yeah, I get that, but the thing is, most people these days, when they do these low demand physical activity tasks, they have music playing, or they have the TV on, or a podcast in the background. I know because I've been there. When I'm doing the dishes, when I'm folding laundry, when I'm making my bed, when I'm getting ready to go to bed, when I'm on a walk. Maybe that's just me, but something tells me most people are in that boat as well. So next time you have to do some minor task like a house chore, or even when you go on a walk, don't take your phone. Don't play any music. Nothing. Just go do that task, go for that walk, and embrace whatever's around you. It sounds airy-fairy and like a bunch of woo-woo bullshit, but I'm telling you, this is active restoration. Whereas when you're doing these tasks with something playing in the background, your mind is always going, all right? And it's always being flooded with information that isn't truly yours. When you engage in these activities with no external stimuli, you allow your brain to make those neural connections that aren't typically made because you're always plugged in. So I recommend for at least 10 minutes every day, do something, some minor, low demand physical task, and just fully engage with it. Okay? This is the idea of mindfulness, which we can talk about in another video. The third way I intentionally rest and use periods of nothingness to my advantage is by doing something called active imagination. The great psychiatrist and psychoanalyst Carl Jung came up with this back in the early 1900s when he was on this personal journey of what he called individuation, which is where he was trying to understand himself more by getting into these meditative states and analyzing dreams. And of course, with what I just said here, active imagination. Active imagination is quite simple. You can think of it as a productive way of daydreaming, all right? It's not quite meditation, but it has some similarities. Carl Jung encourages people to engage with active imagination like this. He says, find a quiet place, close your eyes, and begin doing deep breaths. Get into a light meditative state. In your mind, start with an image, emotion, or question that you've been thinking about. From here, the idea is to engage with whatever comes up. So you're sitting there, your eyes are closed, you've done your deep breathing, you're in this calm state, maybe you start to feel some tingles on your body, all right? You're in this Zen mode, so to speak. As you begin thinking on the image or the emotion or the question that has been on your mind, you'll begin to see these images or thoughts will come to mind. As they come to mind, you want to actively pursue them, engage with them. Try to try to understand where they're coming from, what they mean, and why they're coming to mind. In doing so, you are essentially communicating with the unconscious. That is the part of your brain that is typically shut off during waking hours. This is the part of your brain that is active when you sleep. But when you get into this light meditative state and you engage with active imagination, you can very subtly communicate with these images, thoughts, and symbols that are coming to the front of your mind. All right? So that is the third step. Now you might be thinking, oh, but watching TV helps me decompress, or oh, but scrolling Instagram calms me down. Look, you might think it does, but truth is, it doesn't. We know the neuroscience behind engaging on social media and watching TV while trying to rest. And all the results show that it doesn't truly help you rest. It keeps you all amped up, keeps you stimulated, keeps you plugged in. And from there, it's more difficult to sleep. And then the next day you wake up groggy. And then you end up drinking 5 coffees to stay awake. And then the cycle repeats itself every day. All right? So engage with these activities. I know it's uncomfortable. I know it's strange. And you'll feel like it's not worth your time because it doesn't seem like anything is working. But I'll promise you this. Your brain will thank you later for it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm in the middle of the woods here, honestly. I don't know where the hell I am, but I figured this would be a good spot to record this, and yeah, I'm happy I did. So, like, comment, subscribe, share with somebody you think would benefit from it, and let me know below in the comments which one of these 3 steps you plan to try out. All right? I'll see you in the next one.